on. So yeah, man, we kind of overdue, man. We kind of overdue to be on. Wait, I should actually let me fix this a bit so we could hear our levels. Let me know. Should you hear yours? Oh, yeah, when you put on the yeah, you sound clear now.
Yo,
Yeah, sound good. You can hear yourself.
talk to me. Yeah.
Got this fan going,
What up,
man.
world?
What's up, man?
Tranquilo,
Oh, whoa,
tranquilo.
whoa, whoa, wrong one.
Oh,
Whoa, whoa,
damn.
whoa.
What's up? They don't
Oh,
let me
whoa,
say in
whoa, whoa,
world.
whoa, 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 whoa. My bad, my bad, my fault, my fault. Whoa, that was supposed to go.
Sabu. So dang. Yeah, that's gonna. Hey, there's a future for that, right? They're not gonna like me all the time. They're not gonna like me all the time, man. That's the real.
Yeah, that's true.
Can you imagine that? That's
Getting
gonna
booed right away.
that'd
You
be
just started.
crazy.
You just started. What's up, man? We're here live another
Love,
manuscript, man. So we got it right this time.
Bing.
Still got the cheers in the back.
Love to ya,
You
man. Love to
know,
ya.
better late than never is how we always say.
You heard? Just
Um,
gotta show up.
just gotta show up,
Show up.
show up, show up, and show out.
Love,
Always.
man. You already know I'm Rob Hegan.
I'm AL-BEATZ. You already know us, man. We've been here at the Manuscript another week
Yes,
of
sir.
conversations of things that come up in our lives and stuff that's relevant to what we discuss on this platform. You know, constantly looking at stuff, news related to manhood, where we at as men. Always trying to get better, just to put it plainly. Continuing to grow and try to evolve and try to make the world a better place through this platform, specifically talking to men alike, men of all walks of life, and and starting with us too, you know.
Love.
So Rob and I have continued, you know, to engage in different themes, conversations of different themes throughout the last few weeks, and we will continue. And so today, if you know, noticed on the thumbnail, uh, we put the title "Does This Make Me Toxic?" Which we'll get into to more, you know, expand on that in a few.
Right.
But it certainly is clearly a topic on on relationships. So we're gonna go there for a bit. And yeah, man. So just want to lay that out as we get started.
But first
Usually,
and foremost, brother, how you feeling,
yeah,
man?
man. So let me see if I still. Oh, I got it in the corner over
Hey,
here this time.
man.
Yeah, I got it in
Hey,
the
look
corner.
at that. I got mine popped
Yeah,
up right
popped
here
up right here.
too,
Yeah, yeah,
brother.
yeah. Okay, so let me expand this, move this over right here. How am I feeling today? You know, surprisingly, I at first I was like, you know, sharing. It felt like a long day, and it felt like a long day. I thought it was a long day. The day felt, you know, it dragged a bit. But I was not as tired. So right now I feel pretty calm. I feel pretty chill. Um, yeah, I feel pretty calm. I guess that's the word that's coming to me, just because
Nah, love to that, man.
like I feel hydrated.
Yeah,
I
man.
want water, but like I feel hydrated. You know what I mean? And like even though the day was kind of long, it was like, you know, when I look back, man, I'm just kind of grateful. I came in today feeling relaxed. I got to do yoga again. So I've been telling some folks close to me last year. I had ended the year like doing yoga every Monday. I was like, it was like my yoga Mondays, you know.
Mm.
No matter what happened, I try to just do yoga on Mondays, you know, any form of yoga. And so I stopped. I want to say sometime around February. So I started in October and I went all the way through like February.
Consistently?
Yeah, every Monday,
Yo,
bro.
love to
Yoga.
that, bro. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I don't
man.
know if you shared the
Uh,
time with me.
yeah.
That's great.
So, and then we started doing this like right around February on
Yeah,
Monday.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So I would still hit the yoga like right before we got on live, you know, but it wasn't as consistent where it was like yoga Mondays, you know, and I had it as a yoga Monday.
Yeah.
So I did a little bit of that earlier right before we got on. So right before you came over. So I
Nice.
did a quick little 25-minute thing. Um, and yeah, so that's why I feel calm. I think, you know, being able to do that, you know, it's a lot of meditation that gets done while yoga. So I would recommend yoga as a practice. I know some folks may seem like it's, you know, especially amongst men, is still, I think, looked at as like a boring sort of exercise because it's slow moving and not really lifting anything. Um, but if you can't sit and meditate, I will say a good way to like kill two birds with one stone when it comes to exercise is doing yoga, man.
Yo,
Um,
talk
because you
about it.
know every move, you know, you're encouraged to like breathe in and out, right, through the movement. And so just just focusing on the breath, I mean, that's a meditative practice. So yeah, man. So not only do I do yoga for my body, but I do take the moment to like meditate, man. I usually put my headphones on if I'm watching the video of the yoga, and it usually if the video doesn't have good music, I'll play my own soft music on the background, and so just try to tap in, bro. And then as the moves, I meditate. So
Yeah, I got to do some yoga too today, bro.
yeah, man. Stretching
Actually,
is underrated.
when you hit me up, that's what I was doing.
Stretching is underrated.
Yeah, yesterday. I don't even know if people got to see. I was trying to declutter on live.
Yeah.
But it's so like brand new to me that I just click my phone, go on live, put it in a spot, and go away. And then one time it happened where the phone shuts off and it goes away. So I was like, oh shit, I didn't know that. All right, let me just take that off, do it again, and I did it again, and I forgot what happened the second time where it cut off again, and I was just like, damn, this is hard. I don't know. I want it to be so easy where I just leave it there and I'm just decluttering and I'm singing songs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Kind of like, yo, shout out to DJ ALBYBEATZ doing his thing on TikTok.
Man. Yeah, check him out.
Yeah, my man's doing his thing. But I was doing that, and love to that music, bro. Yeah, something nice and soft and soothing is definitely the vibe for me as well. If not just silence, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, silence, doing yoga with silence and kind of focusing, like you said, on my breath. I went out for a walk. Usually I've been doing... It was interesting you asked me if I went to play ball. And today, you would know I had a hard, morning. Mm-hmm. So then waking up, it was just like... I was grateful first and foremost that I was able to sleep well. I woke up and I didn't feel the difficulty lingering. I just like it pained me. It pained me to let go of what was bothering me and not have any really you just gotta let go. You know what I mean? I want to find the most balanced solution. You know what I mean? I want to not think that that's it, and I had to sit with that, and I just found myself going out for a walk. I went out for a walk, and I found myself in the same park where I would play ball, but I was like, this is kind of nice. I'm not playing ball today. I sat down and was by this, when they got the little sprinklers and the water, and it was just beautiful, hitting my feet and the rainbow out of the water, and I was just breathing and just kind of just trying to accept that I it's only me that doesn't want to find peace here. You know what I mean? I can accept this and let go and see that this doesn't have to be bad. It's just that I'm in fear that it's this is not good. I keep thinking this is not good, bro. This is not good. And then that starts almost stemming and creating more branches. And I just have to stop. You know what I mean? And
it's powerful, man.
Bro.
I hope for those of you listening, man, you understand how difficult that process is that Rob is describing right now. I mean, first the first part is the mindfulness piece. So folks are like, oh, mindfulness, you might hear that word, but I think
demure. That's what's going on here.
Well, when you're describing everything you're watching around you in such detail, that's because you were living in the moment, right? So you only do that and notice nature around you if you're there, if you're present, right. The water, the trees, right? So I think, and it sounds so simple, man, but not a lot of people are doing that, man. People could sit in the park and not really notice these things, bro. Just be staring into space. And in that staring, it's like what you were talking about, probably, right? You get stuck in that loop.
Yeah.
And then branch out, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
One thing, and then so now you may be looking at a tree, but you're not looking at that tree.
Right.
You're not noticing the green. You're not noticing the leaves moving,
Yeah.
So you had a moment where you're able to kind of
It was
trying to stay present.
Yeah.
Trying to stay present.
I'm fighting.
And how challenging that is.
Yeah,
I'm
fighting emotion. It's actually emotional because it's as you keep from your perspective seeing hearing it it's so that's why duality is why I always would speak on because it's just I can't it can't be one-sided even if it's all good Like America, y'all all good, y'all all chilling. No, there's literally on the other side of the world where they do not have all these privileges and benefits. They don't know what it's like even to wear the kind of shoes or clothes or fabric that you wearing. They don't have that at all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's just wild. You know what I mean? Well, all the feelings I felt, like you're right. I'm walking and I see, like, it was twice. I didn't know birds do this. Like, they go into the grass, like the little brown birds. They're like flew into the grass and you can't see them, and it's really cute because then I walk by and all you just see is like a bunch of, and then they go right there and they're just all in a cute ass line, and I was just like it made me emotional because I want order, I want peace and synchro. You know what I'm saying? I just
They sink there,
and I just saw that and I was like, damn, that's beautiful. Like, then I had a moment of thinking, like, if I personally believe, God could bless you with life, and it doesn't have, this can be the ultimate blessing right here. You know what I mean? But at least from our perspective, but just life is a blessing. And just thinking about, like, just seeing how these things living amongst us and how chaotic and imbalanced we are, but look at what they never lose. Imagine that. You know what I mean? All of us living together, and you could see it, that we're losing our family values, our core morals, our mind. And you don't ever stop to think that the way we affect the world, the planet, the pollution, the air, you don't stop seeing the bird. The birds are just going to die. They don't stop flying. They still enjoy their air. They still fly together. You know? That's where I was at. Yeah.
That's amazing. And I think, man, bringing that up is big for because it reminds me of resiliency,
Right.
And
Right.
I think I do like to think that in part, humans also carry that, the same way that around chaos, we still carry on, right? We still find joy, when you see old pictures of what the Bronx used to look like and you see kids playing in the rubble,
Yeah.
right? Just together, right?
I was one of those kids.
Having fun.
Yeah.
And or even right now with the war on Gaza, right? How you hear these stories of folks looking out for each other, feeding each other still when there's barely any food, sheltering each other, or even having fun. It's like, how are you having fun in the middle of a war? It's like,
Did you see that visual? Sorry to cut you off, but there was like on that about like there was like a baby and like in blood, but he was like smiling at somebody. It was on a seat and somebody like drew it because it was so powerful. Yeah, part of the Gaza thing. Yeah.
So someone like drew, yeah. So what I'm saying.
Yeah, like they just saw the image and it was so beautiful that they turned it into like a painting. Kind of like that beautiful thing up there. Yeah.
So it's,
you're saying resilience
we
of the
lose sight
joy.
of these things because when we're not mindful. And it's funny because when I first came up across the term and the practice of mindfulness is shit at this point 10 years ago, goddamn. And so it was revolutionary to me because I was introduced to the concept as a way to treat trauma. The practice of being mindful, the practice of meditation as a tool to heal from trauma, right? And then understanding that trauma is what makes us not present, is what makes us constantly block out and live in the past and live in fear and live in insecurity. And then we don't know that because most of us are used to living with trauma anyway. So so much so that we can't tell the difference. Zoning out is just me zoning out, but it's not necessarily like a response. The way we get triggered, which is a word that's been it's funny because again, I didn't, when I came across these terms, again, it was when I first started the job with the fathers, and it's like, it's interesting to see these terms become mainstream when it was just 10 years ago for me, it was like 10 years ago for me, it was like a term that was just held in this bubble, so I am actually glad that folks have more knowledge on these terms, trauma, triggering, anxiety, and like we're more in tune with like how these symptoms and experiences affect us,
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it's a beautiful. I know it's a tough road though. You got a tough road ahead of you, so it was good that you found some balance this morning, earlier today.
Whew.
And again, some balance because it's not all good, right? It's not all good, so you just tipping the scale a bit.
I will share that I appreciate the conversation that we had. I I commend you for like taking that. Like I know I don't do it in the moment. I'm frustrated with you for pushing me and challenging me.
Yeah.
But you know, both and like I said, you can't be picky and choosing. You got to see it. And you give it to God and always be. I like you my brother, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, like. Once I start thinking you my enemy, that's how I gotta look at myself. You know what I mean? Like, and that you have done nothing for that. You know what I mean? So that way, what it would be was like I really just want you to hear me and I say what I want to say, but I gotta be able to communicate that and not be frustrated and put myself in anger, right? And understand that and also just admit, like I don't like this blue section, bro. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Admit that you feel hurt, you feel guilty, you feel vulnerable, despair, lonely, abandoned, fragile, grief. I feel all those things. You know what I mean? But coupled in and like you said, living and being used to trauma, bro. You know how crazy it is right now to start feeling like naturally healed through experiences, no therapy, and realize that how much of your life was a lot of trauma that no one wanted to discuss and was just telling, like it was almost as if this is you know, this is
part
normal.
Right.
Yeah,
this
is what it is.
It is what it is.
You know, that shit is wild to me, bro. You know, I'm being like I like to consider myself a good spirited person. Like I have no ill will in me, and it has nothing to do with that. You know, but when you don't address that kind of trauma, once anybody feels that you've done them wrong, the worst part about it is not whether or not yes or no you put them through trauma, is that you can't be there for them. That's the thing that I had to answer for myself. There's no way that I could be there for them. You know what I mean? And to each his own, y'all. I don't force you to try to do it. Like, you know, I had to learn, like, that's okay. I had to walk away when I didn't want to walk away for so many situations. Like, but that's hard, man. That's hard, especially we coming from generations of people saying, like, pick up your bootstraps and get the shit working, get it popping. Like, well, you don't think other people got it worse? And it's like, you know.
Yeah, what do you? And it's always like, get it done. You know, find the answer.
And I'm weak, bro.
And move on.
I'm weak, bro. I tell you, I'm weak, bro. I'm weak, bro. Like, you know, as much as I'm here talking to y'all, you know what I'm saying? Got my shit ready, wanted to feel nice, you know. Did the work. The showing up don't, you know, it's just half of it. You know, that's what I was saying. Like, my whole life I knew I could be okay. And then I damn near looked okay to all of y'all. But what I needed to learn was to talk about and accept that when I'm not okay. You know? And if you're not okay, you're not okay. And I was like, yo, what's up with y'all? Yo, y'all fucking with me, yo. Like, get y'all shit right. I can't chill with y'all. Like, y'all bugging. Right. No, like, see, you're not helping. You're not being helpful.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, no, I think it's a tough thing to get to. And, it's reminding me of stuff we went to before in the past, right? Just the difficulty for us as men. Still getting to that place, even for men who are used to being vulnerable, you know, who have practice, you know, talking openly about pain. There's still a lot that we are getting over. There's still a lot that I think we're coming to terms with while we're still healing at the same time from our actual experiences. You know, we're still making sense of how we were told to do things, how we were taught this, how you're supposed to go, how we watched other men around us deal with things, and then again, like
or lack thereof.
My
brother, I didn't watch it. My biggest hero was my father, and that was just, you know, out of just sheer, you know, basic, basic, you know, as my father, yeah. And when I saw him, you know, he don't deal with things. When things get difficult, he's gone. Like, you're difficult. Like, you're making my life difficult. I'm not here for that, and I'm done. Yeah. And I had to learn, like, how sticky that is. Like, there's no one safe in that energy, you know, because that's about you, you know. So whenever it's so nuanced, bro. It's so
is isolation. Does that make me toxic?
Right. You know what I mean? Like, but then it's like communicate. You can. That's why I try to learn. Like, you could go ahead and do this. Yeah. You can go ahead and I don't say isolate yourself, but if it's how you talk to yourself. If you're gonna not isolate, you're gonna take some time to yourself is different. You're gonna love yourself, right? When we get pull our self-care wheel,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying? You're gonna like, yeah, I would say you're going into personal or emotional, you know what I'm saying? And, right? You're gonna learn who you are, figure out what you want in life. You're gonna go on the personal self-care kind of wheel, you know? Like, it's not about isolating yourself,
Yeah.
you know? I grew up with you know what I'm saying? I grew up seeing that, you know?
It's like things aren't going well, isolation or flight, or isolation. Yeah,
Yeah, man.
and I think flight looks differently too. You know how many men don't switch the topic of conversation or bring up other stuff. But what about the times I did this, right? To kind of like deflect, and as another way to like avoid just communicating about the shit that has to be communicated usually in families. So yeah, it takes me to without moving too far back into one of our earlier topics, just like the stuff we didn't get to learn.
Oh
Um,
yeah,
but
what
then
we
there's
wish we had learned, right? What we wish we
well,
were taught. That
yeah.
episode,
Um,
yeah.
and then it's coming to me though that I remember another powerful conversation I was able to have with some of my colleagues around this idea of like the things your father didn't show, or you know your father didn't your our father or your father in general doesn't have to be a present figure to not show you things. In their absence they're teaching you something, right? You're not lacking in a father present, but they're teaching you that this is something that fathers could do, right?
Hmm.
That fathers could abandon, that fathers, or they're teaching you that fathers abandon their families,
Yeah.
right? And I think that's actually a point to any of the fathers out there, man. Don't think just because you're not showing up in some ways that you're not teaching them anything, right? If you say, well, I'm not going to
Oof.
address this, or maybe I shouldn't, let me not approach this conversation yet.
Right. Or he ain't learned that from me. That's his mama. He ain't chill with me and do like, oh, cause he's not chilling with you.
He's not chilling with you, right? You not chilling with them, or you not doing the things you think you should be doing,
Showing
you're
him.
showing them something,
Right.
right? So don't believe you're not just by not being this. You can't absolve yourself of like, well, I don't know, I barely get to spend time with them, so that couldn't be me. And negative.
Yeah.
So yeah, it made me think of that as you mentioned it, right? Like just looking at our dads as heroes, and then how they dealt with their trauma oftentimes, and then getting back to here where we are today, right? Where like through our own processes of healing, trying to do things better, man. And again, that's why I think like starting this, and even hopefully as it grows, because I know other men feel the same way, and I'm pretty sure maybe, who knows, maybe our dads felt the same way too, right? There were some things that maybe at the age we are right now, they might have that moment where, some way or form where it's like they're reflecting on the older generation of men who had taught them up until that point. The stuff they thought they knew when they were teenagers to now like 20-year-olds to now 30-year-olds. It's like I'd be, I wouldn't be surprised if they've had that. Our fathers had that kind of experience where they sat with this stuff.
Yeah, it's wild. My father at my age had us two kids. Like, I think I was like, I think he probably had me at 30,
Oh,
something like that. So I was definitely like 5 at this, you know what I mean? Like, I spending a little bit of time with my grandfather, but nothing crazy.
yeah.
My father, he was like left by his parents. He was like 8 years old in DR, so
Okay.
that they could come here and pursue a better life. So then for 10 years they were out.
Basically
They were
without
out here, and he
parents.
was with his grandparents, or his grandmother, I believe, or his aunt, one of those. And that had to affect you, bro. 10 years. 10 years.
They're not your
To me,
parents.
it's no wonder I'm dealing with a man that he doesn't understand the impact of how much it means to just be there. Like really, when I hit you up or I talk to you, and you know what I'm saying, and then I want to have difficult
Hmm.
conversations, you know what I mean? Like when you disappear like that shit is whack. You know what I mean? Like for me, you gone. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, bro.
Well, to that point, it brings up like one of the things we had on the notes to talk about, and you brought this up was the attachment quiz.
Oh man.
Rob,
I wish you would take it, but it's like
no, I
it's
did
got.
take it. I
Oh,
did
you
take. I took it. I
did?
took it. So it's a series of questions. So we could talk about it
I
actually,
got. I
man.
got. Yeah, I got
So
mine.
so 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 Rob had before, as we were prepping for Monday, For today, we were just talking about, different, obviously, though, again, the overall theme was relationships. And even right now, we were just getting into relationship situations, right? We were talking about parents, a parental relationship with their kids. But in that, Rob had brought up that he came across his quiz, the attachment quiz. So, funny enough, like, again, another concept I got to thankfully, again, learn about over 10 years ago now. Specifically being used to help people not only make sense of their current relationships, but how do they then make sense of their relationship to their parents and starting to heal towards the trauma. So when I first came across attachment theory, it was to be used in groups, again, specifically with some of the fathers I was working with. So we discuss attachment a lot of times to hopefully bridge that understanding of like, this is likely the reason why you parent the way you parent. But not only that, this is likely the reason why under duress and stress in a relationship, you react this way. And it is because it dates back to the attachment style, which is not literally how you're attached to somebody, but really what kind of experiences you have with your caregivers. Attachment is not about, oh, you're too clingy. Well, attachment, again, it has to do with like, what kind of experiences did we grow up with our caregivers, and what was that relationship like? And so for me, I did the quiz, so I was actually surprised by my answer that I got. That it almost made me want to do it again. But the funny part
is that a part of the?
Yeah. No, but the funny part is that I didn't even get a terrible answer. I actually got a good one. I got secure attachment.
Love, bro.
So I was like, okay, that's technically where you want to be. You want to be in the secure attachment.
Yeah.
And again, this is not like a science-y stuff, so we're not going to get into terms. If you want to look it up, you can look it up yourselves.
Right.
I will say be mindful, though, with the information, though, because this is powerful for sure. But because I've worked with people and taught this, I saw how they used it. You could use this information to...
It could backfire, right? I can see that. So that's why one of the things I'm happy about my spirit, I'm not one that
in terms of misunderstanding what it means, but also using it against your partners to say, well, you do this because of this.
Yeah. No. I mean, I like to just take things with a grain of salt and just try to like that's the same thing. Where do you
find yourself in it? Because really, that's the whole point of why I used to work and teach it, because like, where do you find yourself in it? And I'm not saying this is you. Right. Just where do you find yourself in it? What resonates?
Exactly.
Right.
That's the question. What resonates?
And then, okay, from here we can move forward now. Oh, it makes sense now. You're starting to connect the dots for you. Okay, great. So the quiz itself, actually, I wouldn't mind putting it in the show notes.
So check it out. While you put that up, so I got this little thing here that is really cool because it says 60% of people are actually secured. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
You have a strong emotional immune system. Right. That's kind of what they say, right? 20% are anxious, preoccupied. 20% dismissive, avoidant. 2% fearful, avoidant. And America, I'm in the 2%. It's wild. It's just me and somebody else. Imagine. Imagine.
Yeah, the only two people who ever experienced
crazy.
All right, so this is the website here. So I have it up. So discover your attachment style in 5 minutes. Again, I will say, Rob, I'm curious as to the what's the attachment project. I'm curious how these folks what was their algorithm in
I don't know. Yeah.
In figuring out how do you because to me, it could be a little complicated. Because again,
I'll say I've gotten the avoidant one before. The fearful attached is new.
So what was you mind reading what does that one mean again? Like to be to have a fearful.
You desperately fearful avoidant attachment.
Fearful avoid. Okay, interesting. So not just avoidant, but fearful avoidant.
Right. So you desperately need love, like the anxious person, which is a whole anxious, preoccupied, right? Mm-hmm. But you are allergic to it, like the dismissive avoidant. And painkillers don't really work for you, and not for very long, which is very true, doctors, right? We got that. So you never feel okay. And it feels like it's the other person who is making you sick. Which is why I kind of tell you, as I was walking and I had to realize, like, this is me. You know what I'm saying? That, like, you know, I you do, you know, I do have power.
Yeah.
I do have power over my emotions and I can command it, but the way I grew up was I wasn't empowered in that sense. My emotions weren't they were a flaw. They were something to let go and avoid, right? And it was crazy because when I think about that, I think about all the times being a kid and being in a very intense moment and crying and running away. You know what I'm saying? Like being afraid. Like, I don't know. I want to do something, but I'm afraid because these are two people I love and I can't choose. So I'm afraid, and so then I run, go to the room and cry it out and wake up and
Yeah.
start the day again. And no wonder I have so many memory gaps. You know what I'm saying? Like, because who wants to remember that? So it's wild, bro. Yeah. The summary of a fearful, avoidant, insecure attachment.
Yeah, because that's I usually I learned it a lot more basic. So that seems to be a newer term to me, fearful avoidant.
Yeah,
I only knew
yeah.
of insecure attachment, secure attachment, avoidant attachment, and then the last one was distorted.
Right.
Or was it distorted? Yeah, distorted. I was avoidant and then distorted. Yeah.
You know,
So to me, it was just like an insecure meant a certain thing. So,
apparently
um,
most of them are insecure attachments except
yeah,
for the
pretty much.
secure,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. So it's like really secure and then insecure. There's subcategories
Correct. Yeah.
of what that insecurity looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it makes sense, bro. It makes a lot of
Oh, trust.
sense.
When I first learned it, I was like, yeah, the same way. I was at awe. I was like, oh, this is crazy. And this makes a whole lot of sense, you know. And I think the hard part is because I think I can say that is that obviously during this time I learned it. I was in a relationship myself, and I think the struggle I had, and I'll be honest, is because I did come across a point where it's like, damn, this shit is making too much sense,
All right.
you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And then it made me, I think, fearful at times. So I
It
know
it
how.
kind of is like a wide, like, oh shit, whoa,
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
yeah,
and that's one of the things that I don't like that
yeah,
happened because I do think instead of leaning into the information, you know, and I was at first, but then it's like, oh shit, it's too much. It's like I stepped out. Um, and again, that's not to say for folks is that this stuff is useful. And I think if it speaks to you, lean into it. I think because again, if anything, I would have worked with the information a lot better versus than running away from like how it was speaking to me, even at that time when I learned it. Because I do
right.
think I would have made other choices, especially in my relationships. And I definitely would have worked harder, I think, to get to a place where I guess um, I guess secure now. Because again, for me, it threw me off, man. Like, because if you was to ask me, and before I would say it would be insecure avoidant.
Mm.
I think that's how I would. That's the one that would have resonated with me the most, especially from when I learned it. Um, Especially because it describes a certain type of reaction that you would have gotten from your parent. That again spoke to me, um, and it looked like you know, it was like, were you ever that baby that's like was hard to soothe, right? Because it's like you're crying, you don't know if you want your parent to pick you up, but you're still crying. But then then they put you down, but you're still crying. So then they pick you up. You stop for a little bit, and you start crying again. So they put you back down. It's like, what do you want? Right? It's like I don't know what I want. I want you to soothe me, but then I don't.
Right.
I want you to, and that can come from a parent who sometimes soothes you and sometimes doesn't. Who will sometimes, yeah, let me pick you up, and the next is like, yo, stop crying so much. What, you want me to smack you? Like to keep crying some more?
I'll give you a reason to
I give
cry.
you the reason to cry. So, oh shit! So wait, no, don't soothe me,
Yeah.
don't soothe me. But wait, but soothe me, and it's like, well, so you still going at it? You're right. Oh shit! Don't soothe me, don't soothe me. You're right. Don't soothe me. And then inside it's like, but I want you to soothe me though. I don't, you know what I mean? And it's like, oh shit. So that's what I was. So I guess coming now, I guess doing it now, it does. I can say, I guess it shows the growth, because there was some. I do think there's some questions here that were pretty um, on point as far as assessing for what your attachment style, and also for folks even taking the test. I think if you're paying attention to the question the test asks you, um, it's probably stuff you don't really think about often, but you're
Mhm.
like, wait, oh shit, that when you really look at it, like that does matter.
Mhm. Mhm.
for example, I think one of the questions is like it works on a scale. So then one of them was around like how often. Well, it breaks it up, which I like. It's like it's asking you about your mother first, and then it's asking you about your dad. And I also like that it doesn't like it keeps it gender neutral by also saying caregiver number one, caregiver number two. You know, um, but it splits it right, like between, and then it asks specifically about how each one responded to your needs. Right, there's one about like this parent went out with you, showed interest in you, and showed interest in your interest, right? And how often was that happening? And then right, it goes from like very likely to like unlikely.
Yeah.
Um, and so I admit that for some of them I was struggling because I'm like, for my mom it changed. You know what I mean? Like
That's huge. Yeah.
if I was to
That's
answer as
huge.
a kid, there were
Right.
moments where I'd probably be on the very unlikely side
Right.
of things, right? And then, but now I'm like, oh no, I'm on this other side.
Huge awareness, bro, because
Yeah,
that right there made me realize that, see, like it's always both ends to me, and my I don't want to uh identify, like, identify it, but don't identify yourself as it. It happened to you.
yeah,
So in my best self, I'm not fearful. In my best self, I'm not avoidant. You know what I mean? But when I'm triggered and I'm in fear, then I will avoid.
yeah,
It's just, it makes sense, like, and I would want to try not to avoid things, but then in that push, I'm making the wrong decisions because I'm not honoring the fact that I am triggered.
yeah, yeah.
You are in fear. You don't want to call it fear because I don't want to fear the person that's across from me. I don't want to, how you know how I mean, think about it, y'all, like, you know what I'm saying? Your mother fears you, you fear your mother, or what that feels like. Or if you have a child, your child fears you. That don't feel good. So no one wants to admit that. And that was one of the biggest things for me. Like that's a struggle, bro. So I found myself like suppressing a lot, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Just suppressing a lot because I don't want to just admitting the bad is, you know what I mean? Like I want
Yeah,
to work towards the good, but I never would take a break, you know what I'm saying? Or just admit, bro, you know what I'm saying? And then when I'm tired, I'm gone, you know what I'm saying? And then now I have so many friends that have shared with me how that's affected them. And love to, yeah, man. For me, it's always a transparency that I want all my people to like be able to communicate with me, because that's that's huge in this
yeah,
world, man. Like, and I'm only gonna be alive for so long. You know what I mean? Like, talk to me, yeah. Like, talk to me. Just talk to me. Like, it's all good. Yeah, I mean, if you don't like, you know what I'm saying, you want a guy to listen, and let them know to listen. You know what I mean? Like, what was it? When we were having our conversation, you feel me? You asked me, do you want me to listen, or do you want me to, what was it? Or tell you, like, agree with you and just, what was it? He was like, do you want me to just hear you and agree with you and listen, or do you want me to? It was one of the ones where I was like, can you do both? I
yeah.
was like,
Well, do you want my honest opinion? Like, do you want my thoughts on things? Like, did you call me because you want my thoughts on things, or like,
or do you
you
just
just
want
want
me
me
to
to listen?
listen? And I
Yeah.
was like, I would love it if you could try to do both for me right now, because I can't. I don't know. I don't really know. But
No, but I will say again, you worked at it, and that's what I'll say. Like last night, so I guess we could, for a little bit of context for listeners, we just had a long conversation. Rob had called me about something that was on his mind, and it led to like a longer conversation where we discussed relationships, struggles, and stuff like that. And so, I do it. I know, like, because I think I find myself in some of the things you were saying. So it's like, admittedly, like I don't want to be there. So like I was like, don't do that, Rob, because I don't want to do that. So I think for a part of me was like hearing myself in you, and then being like, that's why I used the metaphor of like, let me, like, I was trying to bring you up to like, because I don't want,
yeah,
but because
yeah.
I don't want to do.
Shake
So
yourself,
so
man.
so so to be fair, is also like I was trying to also catch myself like, okay, but it's not about me. So you know I want this good thing for you, and but it's like maybe it's not, some. I also understand that we just need to talk it out, because another thing that that comes up for me is that um we need to practice this stuff. You know, if when I get triggered, I know that I could be avoidant too because of my attachment style. Then how do I get better at it? Well, I have to practice it, right? I have to stay in the discomfort of like we gotta have this
Yeah,
uncomfortable conversation right now, and then I want to be able to push myself in staying there and not resorting to my usual behaviors. So I admit, shout out to Cheryl. I mean, she's one of the first people that, um, honestly, like, really just plain and simple called me out in a way that made me like probably how you felt last night. Really made me feel. Asking me
Yeah.
hard questions, but then she wouldn't leave me. Like, oh, I'm gonna ask you another hard question, and then it's like, damn, but why? But why you trying to make me seem some type of way, And so I know it's uncomfortable, and then it's like, but if how else would I do better if like I'm starting to resort to my old stuff, which is like for me it would be minimizing, but also I forgot what the other term would be called for like trying to make a situation better, like buttering stuff up, like that would be my
Yeah,
thing.
people just tell me to stop trying to fix it. Yeah,
Right,
they just tell me
like trying to fix
I
it.
don't need to be fixed. I just need to like it's
Yeah.
like stop. Don't like
There's
don't.
nothing to fix here. There's nothing you could really say to make it better.
Sometimes they just need a hug, bro.
Yeah, and and in the case I'm thinking, like with Cheryl specifically calling me out, it's more like, let it just be that. I just told you about yourself. It doesn't feel good, and let it just be that. You know what I'm saying? You don't need to come and tell me like how you fixed it already or how like you got it, and like nah, like you don't got it. And I just told you why you don't got it.
Yeah,
And
no,
this is
love
and
to you,
this is
Cheryl.
and this is
I
why
remember when I
like
first met Cheryl, I was having conversations with you. I was like, "Yo, she pressing me, bro." But it was love, bro. She's a good person. You don't feel like this is a bad person. This is just a person who's honest with you.
yes,
It's honest is the word. Like, you know what I mean? There's I never, and that's I would assume you have to practice that, Cheryl. Like that can't be easy, especially to not abandon yourself there. You know what I mean? To like be that and in this world that they feel so threatened. You know what I mean? Like in this fight for identity. Who are you? Like I'm who I am. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then for you not to that's what I struggle with. I don't want to leave people, bro. I've been left my whole like that's what it feels like. So I'm so afraid of disappointing people that I try to at my best be there for them and show up where I can when it's not my job. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's not my job. My job is to show up in now how I see it now is like not only for myself but for me as I see it for fit for God. You know what I'm saying? How I feel led there. Worship who you want to worship. I'm saying, like, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, it's like I feel like I'm not I never felt like a Superman. Like it wasn't on my mind like that. It's just I think subconsciously, like, again, just trying to be that caretaker that I never got.
Yeah.
But still, that's about you. You know what I mean? Because I don't know what they got. They might not need you to be that because that's you thinking you need to be that for them when they just need this. Let them say what they need. Hear them and ask them what they need. It's tough, man. It's tough.
Yeah.
What's nice about this thing, though, like I found this little, this joyninja.com, fearful avoidant, how to heal. It tells you about like mistyping the fearful avoidant, and then also like it's cute because it's like we're not all that bad, right? It says no, but there's some
things you can work on.
It says no, we have some redeeming qualities.
Okay, redeeming. Oh, I just gotta love that term.
Right.
Redeeming qualities.
So it says, we are focused on other people so we can be very attentive, perceptive, present in conversations and pick up on details that make people feel seen. Ding, 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 ding. I was like, yeah, word. You know what I mean? We like to study human behavior. It can be very insightful, right? Which is a double-edged sword because it makes our criticism more vicious. And I was like, sheesh. Very, 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 very true. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have no boundaries and constantly feel guilty, so we give a lot. We have survived a lot and can be very resilient and good in crisis. We can care about the underdog, right? Social justice and other people's pain. We are far more tuned into other people's needs than our own. Bang, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's interesting, right? We crave deep, authentic connection and immediately want to go there. You know what I'm saying? But then again, like first of all, it showed me that I'm not ready for a relationship. That I'm so honest, like for real. No, but for me, you know how I speak. World, I speak that I tell everybody, like I'm at a place now that I see everything is relational. Just so that I'm not in this selfish place of like, nah, I don't want to mess with nobody, no relationships. I'm just on my solo drum, I'm working on me, and I'm getting my money. I don't want to do that. That's money. That is not even my motivation. You know what I'm saying? Connection and healing and peace. That's my motivation. Like, prosperity, like unified. So, what was I saying?
Well,
I'm so
just
sorry.
going back to like reading, as you're getting to know yourself, I understand like it's harder. But I just laugh when you say, well, and that's why I shouldn't.
That's what I was saying.
Right,
But because
but there's some things to work on, right? Which
100%.
yeah, and at the same time, as always, I mean, I think in a perfect world, as not even in a perfect world, I think now it's still quite possible. I think to work through these things while still engaging with somebody, building something new with somebody, and then perhaps even building a romantic relationship with somebody. It's more of a matter of like,
I love the way you framed that
yeah,
though. Say that again. You weren't saying, you were saying engaging with
yeah,
someone, building,
building with somebody, yeah,
perhaps getting into a romantic
right,
relationship. You see, like all of those weren't so rigid and cutthroat into a box. You know what I
no,
mean? It was open, and like one thing I struggle with in this world is that I can see that that's not trustworthy. It's not that that's just not trustworthy, but the idea of the openness is not trustworthy. Like like one of the things that plagued me was like, it's not that I want to not be in a relationship and I'm talking to you and I'm gonna go have sex with somebody else or be no, that's not godly to me. That's fucked up.
no,
That's lying.
yeah.
It's
Is that toxic?
you know what I'm saying? That's not what I'm saying. What I'm
I
saying
mean, it
is that
might
I
be a little
don't want
toxic
to
thinking
jump
though.
into the
Pattern,
relation. I
toxic
don't
pattern.
want to just be like, I want to build. I want to get to know you. I want to move through life with you. And as things come, we work together. But for me, what it feels like when we put that label on it, that no, you my man, you my woman, when things come, I have an expectation of how you should show up because you're not my man. As opposed to allowing it be that these things show up and I know, oh, this is how what happens to Rob, right? But now Rob can't be triggered. At least how I feel like if Rob is triggered and he's fearful, avoidant, which I don't want to be triggered. I want to work to my best self. But if I'm there, more guilt comes into play because I shouldn't be that way. Because now I'm letting you down, as opposed to just not making it about letting you down. I'm letting myself down. I got to work on I got to do that for me. So that's why I realized how can I be in a relationship right now if when things get difficult, I can't be. That's not fair to my partner.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's
Yeah.
not fair to anybody. You know what I mean? So, with everything being relational, I see how God is putting me in a season to be back with family. I can't go build a family if look at the family that I was with. I gotta work here first from
Yeah.
ground zero. And the whole time, my whole life, I wasn't doing that. I was just working to get away and get away with love. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I'm gonna graduate and go get a job, and of course I'm gonna show up to all the holidays. But let's really talk about what happened here. You know what I'm saying? Like this
Yeah.
wasn't bubbly. This wasn't great. We're just trying, but we should talk about what happened.
Yeah.
You know what
Do
I mean?
you well in the spirit of like framing these things, is that and to I guess put a spin on toxic, like the word. I mean, I don't want to like, but since everyone's already kind of like butchered the word and it's like it's
Like
it's,
demure.
it's all funny and cute now. You got this freaking kids being like, I'm toxic or yo soy tóxica, and it's
Yeah,
like it's
yeah,
cute.
yeah, yeah.
But
They
like
actually embrace that.
right,
Yeah.
but let's keep it for something that is not good. Right.
Yeah,
So
I
it's
agree.
something that you might want to do away with. So do you think that would you say that that is kind of like a uh
Toxic trait, yes.
yeah.
I had to call myself out, bro. That's toxic. That's why my flaw, my like biggest, I have to carry that is that and there have been
Well,
many.
what's specific about? Because I was thinking more of like, do you think it's toxic for someone to, is it a toxic mindset to think that like, if that you can just move on to a romantic relationship and that's not, and if you don't like right separating like right, my family don't matter. Like as long as I'm gonna begin my own family one of these days, and that's all that matters. Like forget my family in the back. I don't know what they're doing. Like, do you think that that could be a toxic mindset to have for someone to think that they could just create other families and abandon their family? Now, granted, let's say their family is
It's really
unbearable.
you. For them,
Right,
I was just
and
thinking
it's
that.
like unsafe.
I know some people who really and I don't. I almost want to just say I don't know because I could speak only for myself
Hmm.
because I don't, you know, trauma is personal, man. Like when I think
Well,
I
sometimes it's
want to
not
give
safe.
this
You
to
know, some people
God.
are really dealing with family members that really hurt them. You
A
know.
hundred
Yeah,
exactly,
yeah.
and I don't know what that's like. Yeah, I mean, I know that I feel it's indirect hate. Yeah, indirect hurt. Excuse me. Yeah, I mean, like my family's hurting and trying to save themselves. That's why then I get hurt, right? And that's literally what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when I feel like I'm hurt, I gotta go, and then I'm hurting you. I'm abandoning you too. Yeah, I mean, like, and that sucks, bro. And so
Yeah.
what I gotta take accountability was like, then why am I putting myself in a position to be in a romantic relationship when you don't leave people in romantic relationships? That's the norm that we have made in this society.
Word.
You know what I'm saying?
Ghosting has been a-
Yeah, like, you know what I'm saying? Oh, you know what I'm saying? Nah, just, you know, it's my, like, you know, I got 3 girlfriends or whatever. Like none of them is ever gonna be serious. So literally there's gonna be 3 women out there that like you're just like fucking around with, and they're gonna have that, like, you're not even trying to be serious with them. Is that what they're doing? You gotta ask yourself, I'm talking about, that's why balance comes to my mind.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I guess they have 3 men. I mean, it's got to be
Usually
like that.
Not, usually not, right?
Exactly. It makes sense. Like that's another one who's a fearful attachment style yourself, when you want to have your options open. Yeah, bro.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I knew that I wasn't that far gone. You know what I mean? Because I was always a one guy man. Like I wanted a relationship. The problem with me was that when I didn't know how to communicate that the relationship isn't like fulfilling, and that felt wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like I wanted to always believe that it could do something, like
Yeah,
it could
we've
get
been there.
better. You know what I mean? And I felt like that's disrespectful. That's like, I don't walk out here and tell people that they're not attractive looking to me. That's almost the same sense to me. Like not everybody's your type, but you don't go and tell everyone like, yeah, you don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like have a good spirit to know that everyone's supposed to be in love. Everyone's beautiful. Beauty is an eye of the beholder, but we don't do that.
Yeah.
I saw somebody put sidetrack on Twitter. I hate this generation. Nobody believes they're ugly anymore. I was like, yo, you fucked up, bro. Like
I
that's
said, listen, we just had that conversation about how mean we were in middle school. It's okay that I'd
Yo.
rather that than you know what I'm saying. I don't know, but
I'm a different person. I wasn't that mean, but I
yeah,
imagine I was a kid.
I partook.
I laugh. You know what I'm saying? Like I wasn't
No,
that.
we're mean.
Yeah,
pretty
bro.
mean.
Like I didn't think about y'all feelings. I didn't think.
Well, we were kids. I mean,
Yeah.
we're talking about.
Oh, we're talking
You're
about
just a
7th
girl at this
grade,
point.
6th grade. Yeah.
Yeah.
Before my
Which-
even heart was broken, you know what I'm saying? Before it's even somebody's looking at you like you. That's the thing that changed me, when it was like somebody's looking at you like, no, you bad, and I had to, and I'm looking, and they won't forgive me, and I'm feeling bad, and I had to forgive myself and ask for forgiveness, but they still they don't forgive you, and eat that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, because you're not gonna be everybody's favorite person.
Yeah, and I think that would be a toxic trait to think that you can be. You know, I think it's impossible to think that that's going to be the case. And, you know, I do wonder how often men experience that, you know, where, because I do think a lot of times, from what I notice working with men, and even myself being blessed to learn differently. So, you know, there are many choices I didn't make that I see other men struggling with. So I do wonder, I've always wondered, man, it does suck for men who get that treatment, you know, who do things that are wrong, who do hurt people, and then they're just labeled, and then it's like they don't know how to really come back from it.
Yo, that's
And they don't have a and they don't and there's no really.
Where do you go?
Well, there's just no example of a dude that's going through it in a successful way. Usually, like we see men get over their woes or things like that by getting more money, right? By getting better status somehow, right? And usually is attached to the way we heal is attached to material things.
Oh,
Oftentimes, you know, and it's funny because I think women are stereotyped that way, right? They go shopping, get their nails done, right?
Right.
They do material things where they
BBL
feel bad.
now.
Right.
Now
When they're feeling
yeah.
insecure or bad, they do material things. But I think we do that. You know, I think as men we do that.
Right. It's nuanced.
We also pour ourselves into material things to heal. And so yeah, it sucks because I don't know that there's examples of that of where. Or just that I think as men we're not talking to each other enough about our fuck ups, and then like and moments where we've been successful and like getting through that, healing from the fact that we did forgive ourselves.
We was on something.
know,
I remember was it the 1 year? The new year what we called it? Circle of
Circle of
Trust.
Trust. Yeah, no, I
We
think.
was on it, bro. We
Yeah.
was on it, and then the Circle of Trust got crazy, and I take full responsibility for that one. Like, that what a journey, bro.
So, which is wow. How long ago we started that? Was that we were like what 15 maybe 14? 15,
Nah, we
16?
had to be 16, 15, and we went for like another 4 years. Like,
Yeah, because went through. We was old enough.
yeah.
We were old enough.
Yep.
Um, I know. I think that's cool. I think that's. I don't know. I mean, I know, but I don't know. Like, right? It's a hard practice to keep up. So,
Oh, for sure.
obviously, it was an insider, but I think Rob and I had this along with our other friend. Had this
Trips.
we had this concept as teens. I don't know how it came up. It was.
Yeah, me either, man.
I'm trying to remember what sparked it, but it was like it definitely happened on New Year's, where we said we would like have this thing called a circle of trust, where every New Year, the ball drops or whatever, and then we get together and we would hang out and then talk about, be honest with the thing, like with the year, and like if there's any
lingering feelings that we
that we
had
throughout the year,
so towards each other.
Yeah, if in case we didn't get to say it earlier in that year, the circle of trust was that time to bring it back and to say, yo, you know what, actually, back in March, so and so and so and so, back in July for my birthday, so and so and so and so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, man. I think that was really nice that we did that. I think that was very innovative. I think really something that without knowing, like, right, it's a good practice to have. I mean, because we don't, if we're not practicing doing that on a daily basis, I mean, obviously, Circle of Trust really should have been like a once a month thing.
Amen.
Right?
Amen. Because I was like, how you gonna remember what happened on March when December comes?
So, and just
how your friendship gonna last? How 7?
Well, no, because it happens, right? With like
go like 9 months not talking about that shit, and you write that down in the book. It's you doing? What you gonna do? Oh, no, I'll talk to you about it on December 31st.
But think about it. Isn't that kind of how it went in
many
ways?
It did.
It was like, yo, you really hold on to shit.
It did.
And again, as men, is like, especially us being young men, right? You also take it another level where like, now we're growing up, right? We're getting the messages that like, nah, maybe it's not that serious. Maybe you should just let it go, right? Like,
and one thing to share is that we didn't do it in front of everybody.
Oh no, that was exclusive to us.
Yeah, like, we went privately.
People got kicked out the room. Yeah,
100%.
Yeah. I mean, eventually we invited people into it. I think that's probably when things started going a little differently.
It was interesting, bro. The things that we were doing was like viral in the beginning. People wanted to be a part of it. It was real nice. It was nice, man.
Yeah, other men, young men heard about what we were doing and thought that was cool and wanted to join the Circle of Trust, even though it started with us three. But I think, absolutely. I think it's a good practice. Hey, we should bring it back probably. Fuck it.
Yo, love, bro. I'm dead thinking like, we talking to people, like, you know what I'm saying? There's no chat live here right now, but I'm addressing. Like, I'm talking to the people. I'm talking with my brother here. Like,
or I'm not establishing that with somebody, maybe your partner. I mean, actually, me and one of my partner, we did do it and we stopped doing it. We did like a monthly. It was like a monthly two monthly check-in, like specifically talking about where we at, and it was like specific, like. So last month, how did it go? You know what I mean? It wasn't like so every month, and then I think we stopped around after a couple of months as well. But I do remember it was also a key thing to like, you know what? I didn't get to talk to you about this 2 weeks ago, but we're at our monthly. You know what? So I am gonna bring it up now and say like, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
And big note is that it did not, love to the fact that it never exploded. You know what I mean? I just want to. You have to say that because
it got heated. I guess. Sometimes some people might misconstrue that as exploding. I guess if you will.
Well, I just want to say that we never like. You know what I'm saying? We respected each other.
Oh yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
We
never.
Yeah. Said what we had to say.
I don't know. I just see a
really
lot.
Listened. Also, it was like a very like, nah, it's your turn to speak.
Oh yeah, for sure.
We're gonna listen.
Didn't we have someone we was handing around?
Yeah. Like it's your turn to speak. Like that's it. Yeah, man. And again, Brad, wow,
beautiful
like,
thing.
How many? No, bro. It's just even for me thinking now, like just even working on a professional level, with people in a mental health setting, and seeing how these practices are used in these settings, right?
Mm-hmm.
A talking stick, like a moment where you're
Right,
being
right,
honest with
right.
each other, right? If you have a group that you're running once a week, maybe once a month, y'all do this special thing together, right? So like these are things that we were already doing on our own. And I'm like, man, again, just going back to like how important that is to even have. I would hope that Trips also holds that moment dear to him, because it just, if anything, at the very least, it provided us each as individuals, I think, with an example of like, yo, we could do this. Like we
Mm-hmm.
can tell other people like, yo, our honest like thoughts on things, and then let it and see where it goes, but fix it. Because I remember, yeah, to your point, we made sure that like whatever was said, that we would end amicably,
It was love, bro.
you
It was
know.
love. It was love.
Um,
It was
so
love.
yeah, I do think that, and I remember at one time y'all were getting mad at me because it was like, there's nothing I can really say about you this year.
I do remember that. I do remember
It
that.
was like, there's nothing I can really complain about you
Yeah, that
about.
might have. Yeah, yeah. No, that might have been around the last
Yeah,
time that it was.
yeah,
Yeah.
I was like, this guy got it together, man. Screw this guy.
It's the Mr. Secure
Mr. Secure
Attachment over
Attachment.
here.
Hey,
Love, love, man.
but no, I think folks, yeah, I think more men with their circle should have that. Because again, going back to my point of like, where do we get to practice these 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 experiences if we never had them, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not gonna move. There's no way to move from an insecure attachment style to a secure one without practice. Like, you're not just gonna read it in a book, bro. You know what I'm saying? You could read it.
You're making me emotional.
You
I'm
know,
gonna be honest,
you
because
can't
you
just.
got it's where you said in the beginning, resilience. You
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
know.
You can't read. You know, you could read it in a book. Even for me, I read it in a book. I went to webinars. I went to trainings where these things were talked about. I was knowledgeable on the topic, but it didn't apply because I didn't practice. Like, oh shit, the work that it takes to undo what you learned that then made you develop the style. And now you're telling yourself, yo, I want to have another style. Like, I don't want this style no more. But the same way, bro, if you don't want baggy no more, you gotta go shop for them skinny jeans.
Yeah, you gotta put that work.
You gotta put that
bro,
work.
you mean go shop? You better go lose some weight.
Oh, you know what I'm
Uh,
saying? So it's like, yeah. So there's work to be done, and then again, to going back to like another thing that I still wonder how to like help as much as I can, because I do think that I do feel a bit more confident in this process, being able to do it myself. Help other men being able to get there, or like find them for themselves, or where else they're gonna practice, you know.
yeah.
Because again going back to our conversation, like I want the same thing. Like I don't want to be Mr. Goody Two Shoes. You know what I'm saying? Like I remember being, again going back to that circle of trust. I remember being like, damn, you're sure there's nothing? I'm sure there's something I did. Like, and it's like, yeah. So like, tell me, you know, again, even if how I talk about my relationships, I'll be honest. I remember I had a moment where I was like, you know, I could feel you, because how many times I talked to you about breaking up with somebody and didn't do it and kept on going back and forth, and then coming running to you about it. Like, give me an answer. It's like, nigga, I told you what to do. But you know, well, whatever's fine. You change your mind. You know, you change your
That's
mind.
wild, bro. Yeah,
Yeah, you know. So I was
that
like,
was a
yeah, I was
wild one.
there. You know, I was there.
Yeah.
And so I know I didn't have the answer, but I kept on, you know what I'm saying, having this back and forth. And so as I'm saying, last night I was like, I know I was there too. You know, I was also, so it's not, doesn't feel good to like, no, I was saying things that I thought was true, and then I'll come back and change my mind. And it was like, but weren't you just thinking of this other thing the other day? You wasn't talking about her like that last week.
Yeah.
Now you're talking about her this week,
Yeah.
this way. So it's like areas I have to grow, because I didn't practice that. And so now, you know, where I used to look at those moments of myself and be like, ah, man, you see, you fucking knew better. You ain't really, but no, I didn't know better. You know, and yes, I was fearful, and yes, I didn't make the choices that were right for me, but that don't mean I made the wrong choice. You know, I made the choices that where it was, you know what I mean? And it landed me here. And so what do I do with all this stuff? What do I do with everything that I learned? And so just continue to try to reflect and learn, you know what I mean? And then practice in wherever I can with folks around me. You know what I'm saying? So like, how often am I challenging people where I can? Whereas before I probably wouldn't. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey man, again, I've been doing this for a while, so you know how many other times I wanted to challenge my friends around me, but it was like, nah, I've been that guy. I don't want to be that no guy. But it's, you know, I don't want to hold back anymore with people around me, because again, shout out to Cheryl. I was like, she didn't hold back with me. And I'm like, wow. Even though it annoyed me at the
And
time,
look at how quickly you guys developed something. You know what I
and
mean?
it
Like
was hard for me to process it, but I'm like, no, she's right. I was like, no. I was like, but I feel the growth.
right. You
You
know what
know?
I'm saying? Like it
Yeah.
has
Even
to
though
correlate.
it doesn't feel good,
Right.
it doesn't feel positive. My stomach's turning. Like
I
I'm
understand.
feeling angry, but then it's like you know, things start to break down a bit more. You get to process, and then you're like, oh shit, not wait a minute. Now you start looking at things with a different lens, and now the things
It's
that
like
were
really being in the eye of the storm,
yeah,
you know?
and then now and those words resonate now differently, whereas the things your friends were telling you came across as an attack. Now, oh wait a minute, okay, now I'm hearing it differently now,
Right.
and so that you play, now you start to make sense of like those words, and so I think one of the things that we talked about is like how do we want to kind of continue proceeding, right? What are our morals? Going back to that, where do we stand, and then trying to stay there. So
Hmm.
like again, I went back on like I'm trying to be on the same page about living through positivity and peace. So I know I do still gotta watch myself, when I'm in that space of like thinking in the past and I'm thinking about a particular person and those thoughts are not nice ones. you know, and that I justify those not nice thoughts because it's like, well, look what they did to me, and like, so I shouldn't be. Why
Yeah.
should I think about them in a nice way?
Yeah.
You know,
Have they given me a reason to?
and then it's like,
But you gotta find
nah,
the reason. You find the reason.
but it's like, but where am I right now?
It's like
You
if
know what I'm
God is over
saying?
here, so you think God is dropping breadcrumbs for you to be like, oh, that was him. That was him. That was nah, bro. You gotta believe.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? And
and
not even believe. I love
it's framing. It's
faith.
really framing and framing, and also framing. Like where do I
Framing.
want to go
Yes.
with this?
Yes. Yes.
I have this thought. It's coming into me because I'm human.
Right.
You know,
Those are feelings.
and so
Right.
now I'm pondering
Go
now,
through them.
but it's the past.
Right.
Right? I'm not there, like, I'm not there right now. Like
Right.
I've told myself already, I don't want to think negatively about this person. I don't want. So why am I now like? But it's because I'm human, bro. So
And you're hurt. Yeah, it's probably
I'm
hurt, bro. It's hurt.
I'm
It's
in the
hurt.
shower. Oh shit! See what the fuck they did? See? Yeah, I'm justified of what I did because they did this to me, and like, whoa. I was just chilling right now. What's going on? Like,
Mm. Yeah, breathing,
why am I?
breathe. Yeah.
Why did that come to my mind right now? Like, why? Yeah, to this day, bro. So it's like,
I feel you.
listen,
It's a
when
process.
you get blocked for that first time, I'm still,
Muchacho.
still comes back to think about it, even though it's like
Muchacho.
I thought I let it go, But that's what I'm saying. Sometimes we don't let go of things. It's just learning how to live with these memories, now.
On topic.
Yeah, man.
Does that make you toxic? When you're the blocking person? Does it? I was having that conversation with someone not too
I
long
think if
ago.
you're quick to block and you're using it as a tool to say like to escape a conversation from somebody, I think that's toxic. And
Mm.
I do, and I have seen examples of people who fall back on like, well, that's my choice. It's like they could block me right back, so it's nothing. It's like,
Literally, that's what I was dealing. That's what I
and
was
it's
having a
like,
conversation. It was like, why don't you just do that back? And I was like, yeah, but that's not authentic to my spirit. I'm not trying to play that game. It's not a game. It's not a game. Is I forgot what the word they said, but I was like, no, but it feels like I'm playing a game because it's like, check. You know what I'm saying? You move, I move. You move, I move. Like that's not the move I want to make. That's not the move I want to make.
yeah,
That's just plain and simple.
mm-hmm.
I get it. It makes sense. Like, you know what I'm saying? Tit for tat. But that didn't resonate with me, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The only people, and I have blocked people in the past. I've blocked them when I felt disrespected by them, and I knew that they didn't give a fuck about, excuse my language, they didn't care at all about a
Right. What
reconciliation.
happened next year?
They didn't care at all, so I blocked them. And it was definitely, I'm not talking about friends. I'm talking about this was a business thing. This was a job that I was doing, and it ended up badly. You know what I'm saying? So block. That's what I did there. Now, what I'm trying to fight, and fight for, and that's why I think it becomes more. It becomes like I see hope in that where it can happen is like it's not you do that for everyone, right? I don't fight and show up for everyone. Like no, like you do that for your loved ones, right? I don't call everyone my brother, right? Like people, men that I've been close to, I didn't do that for, but I'm here to show up for you, no matter how bad it gets. Yeah, I mean, I gotta know that that's right there, and it's okay because I pray, right? That's how I keep my heart good. That they have that brother, that's somebody by their side that will do that for them, and that's not always me. And one thing I want to get better at is if I'm in the position right here where I'm about to pull off, do I have the tools to help you see, or just give to you where you can go for help?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So yeah.
Like, so
Leave
I'm not
leaving
just
you with something.
something, bro.
Yeah.
So I'm not just leaving you like, and then definitely saying shit that I'm gonna regret, knowing that you like when I hear like if ever I hear from you like what you're holding on, I'm not gonna like that like,
Yeah.
and not for selfish reasons. I'm just not gonna know like, damn, that shit must be festering. That's terrible, bro. And that's an infection. Like I should we should disinfect that. We should like come to talk about that. You know what I mean? Like I'm trying to get better at that, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, love to anybody out there, you know what I'm saying? Definitely. No, for real. Like, I want to have the real conversation, but it's not up to me. Like, if anyone's holding that, I'm open to it, but I just apologize, like, straight up. Like,
Circle of trust.
love, bro. Word.
The digital circle of trust. Well, listen, I would encourage folks to develop their own within their circles, and then maybe,
Amen.
And it
Love.
expands. But I think it's certainly key to have that, man. I think there's not enough of calling in and calling out. Is either calling out or kicking out. You know what I mean, or not saying nothing at all.
Or getting called, right? You not calling in.
Yeah.
Because for me, that's the hard, like to call in is, I realize that's what I'm struggling with. Like now I feel shame. I feel fear. I feel,
Oof. Well, I mean, just those two words is alone.
I was about to stop right there.
To be
yeah,
honest,
honestly, yeah.
And let me. I do want to say that is those two words. I think is a huge barrier. I do think
I feel it, yeah.
for healing. I think with men specifically. I think the way we experience shame, and so maybe that's something we might want to revisit next week. I think when the way we look at shame, the way shame actually manifests. I mean, again, something similar to attachment. When I learned about like how deep that can go, it is impactful, and then I see how some men around me walk around with certain things they're ashamed about, and how it still is stunting their growth. I mean, for myself, there's still things that I think ways I'm still working through some of those things I'm ashamed about that I know is stunting my growth in certain areas. So yeah, it's big, man. Fear and shame. I don't think you need to kind of say anything else after that, because everything does start to like,
right.
But if working through those two simultaneously is very challenging, man. Because again, shame is not like guilt. A lot of times, we could feel guilty. That's one thing.
Right.
But when we start feeling shame,
and it's not guilt. Yeah. Well, I just to be clear, it's like I'm trying to reach out to people again. You know what I mean? After knowing that I took so much time to myself because I was going through a very traumatic experience that I wasn't vocal about, I had to understand that because they didn't know that, they just took it personally as if, and maybe they're also going through their life and they're triggered and they made me out to be the enemy because that's what I was. It's like that. It's a mirror here to me, like both and. It's interesting that I could see clearly that they're not giving me a reason to feel. I'm in shame. I'm ashamed and I'm in fear that is that bad. That what I mean? Like it's so there's no words no words even want to form because there's nothing more to say. Whereas like it's interesting like. Forgiving yourself is a big thing that I realized. Like when somebody had asked me, like, have you forgiven yourself for certain things, and I had to sit there and just. You want to say yes, but that the proof is in the pudding. You know what I mean? You clearly didn't. You know what I mean? Like you're clearly afraid. Clearly you have to forgive yourself and then get to that place where, like. They can see that you are past this and then they feel safe. But how can they feel safe that you're not going to make the same choice if you're still there? You're literally there. Like you're close, but you're there. And vulnerability, like these things, to have the conversation last night, bro. Appreciate you picking up. You know what I'm saying? Like Yeah, I mean, it was late and you picked up. And it's just kind of taking those kind of steps.
Yeah.
Because I think about you first. I was 1:30 in the morning. I didn't want to call you. I thought you were getting ready for work,
Yeah.
and I just tried it out, and it worked, and it was, love, bro.
Yeah. And so for those, I think, catching on and still tuning in, I mean, I think, when you're with us, I hope you're also,
Seeing yourself in it.
was that
Mm-hmm.
doorbell again? That might have been my dad.
All right.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
you
Good, but you
might,
was
yeah, yeah,
talking.
all right. So, yeah,
Oh, my
I was saying, yeah. So for folks tuning in, I think, I hope you've been able to catch on to what we've been talking about as far as like, these conversations when it comes to like the healing process for us as men. Also, these big words we're talking about as far as like shame, fear that comes up. I know the major word we started coming up with is, does that make me toxic? And I think, wow, in our time, wow, we actually got like an hour and a half into this. Great. We spoke to some things that make us toxic. I'm gonna push Rob to return this. I have some ideas already of how we can expand on this topic a little more. Maybe ways that are a little bit funnier, and I guess easier to digest. But in order to even, I do want to say and kind of highlight that this conversation we broke into today is also important to even look at and sit with, because if we are to even consider like what are those choices we make within our relationships, and I'm talking to the men, if we are to even to start to consider these choices that we make in a relationship, and then we're wondering where we lie as far as like, are my choices healthy, are my choices unhealthy, are they toxic? Rob and I just spent the last hour or so talking about attachment styles and trauma and things from our childhood. If you are not in tune with some of those things and experiences, and if you are also not willing to explore and talk about these experiences and also be willing to revisit them and honestly really look at it and really look at the bad stuff, then you wouldn't be able to answer the question of whether the things you're doing is toxic or not, right? Because some of the behaviors that you grow up with that are inherently toxic, you might see as normal. And if you're not willing to revisit your childhood and take an honest look at how things were probably not how they should have been and were probably not healthy for you, then you're going to miss the things you're doing right now that may be unhealthy. You are going to miss the things that you can work on to maybe move from make you a toxic person to maybe somebody that's a bit more not bit, but it is healthy. So yeah, as Rob just walked right in, I was just going like, putting it together in terms of like, because we actually have an hour and a half, so we're past the limit of the time. Revisiting, yeah. Just because I have an idea, and I'll share once we close. I have an idea for how we can pick this back up
Next week. Okay.
Yeah. That does this make me toxic? Because I do think it would be useful and helpful for others, especially other men, to hear it. But just highlighting, right? Like, it's kind of good also that we also expanded on the attachment, shame, guilt that comes up for us and stuff that's really from our past and our childhoods.
Yeah.
Because that is a necessary part of the healing process. To even like again going back to emphasizing like, right, you wouldn't be able to truthfully answer the question of, does these things make me toxic, and really analyze it again if you're not even willing to analyze the stuff you and I just talked about, right?
Yeah.
If you couldn't sit with us right now, then you're probably not going to truthfully answer, does this make me toxic or not? So
Yeah.
when your partners ask you and they're sitting with you and trying to tell you what you're doing, right, will you be honestly able to look at what you're doing if, again, you're not willing to even sit with, even hearing two men talk about the vulnerable things that happen to them, right? So these are very necessary steps to even get to where we're going to go to anyway. So
Yeah, I agree.
yeah.
Love, good shit. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. Yeah. Yeah, and one thing I had to learn, guys, is like it's your journey.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's your journey. As much as we're talking about how you were affected by growing up near people, by people, it's your journey. They have their journey,
Mm-hmm.
and you got to be mindful of that and
Yep.
respect it. And one of the fruits of the spirit that gives life, y'all know me, is patience. You know what I'm saying? Forbearance, as is written in the book.
Yeah.
So be patient with each other. You know what I'm saying? And try to find some joy in it. I know it's gonna be dark, but you know what I'm saying? Like I think that's one of the beauties about children. You know what I mean? I was a very, not for real, like I was going through so much, but I was still a light. You know what I mean? Like I was just trying
No,
to
I don't
like
think anybody would be able to tell, not knowing your personal circumstances.
yeah, bro. And
Yeah.
and I think about like that's possible for many of us. And I find myself struggling right now and coming with like right now like literally fighting tears just for the little kid that just in me that like everything's rushing up and I'm trying to continue to have faith and believe. That's why I think the tears want to form because it's like I do see it on the other end and it's just grieving. You know what I mean? It's just grieving that and letting it go and knowing that, it is good. You
Yeah,
know, it will be okay. And it's only to get better.
for sure, man.
Love, man.
And with that, let's clap it up, man. Let's clap it. Oh, wait, whoa, whoa. All right. It was like the audience pump faked me real quick. I was like, what y'all doing, man?
That's
What's
funny.
going on?
Yo, love you, bro. Good
Love you
stuff,
too,
man.
man. Yo, well, it is almost past. It's reaching my bedtime. So,
You heard?
but this is a good one. We are about an hour and a half in. Yeah, man. So this is a great one. As usual, we are usually on every Monday, hour and a half at least
Yep.
to 2 hours. Usually 8 to 9:30, or as of now 10 to 11:30, man. So just catch out next time. We will be back. You might not want to miss the next one. Because we will continue this conversation on specifically about toxic behaviors and does certain things make me topic. So tune in for that one.
And by the way, I just put out episode 8. If y'all didn't catch that, episode 8, Hurt Man, Hurt People.
Nice.
Check that out. That's on the YouTube page. And what we like to do, if you can't, hey, appreciate you, E. If you don't get to catch this, because love to y'all, we came a little late. We like to leave the video lingering for the week.
For sure.
So enjoy, y'all. Appreciate you. I'm Rob Hegan.
And now, man, we out.
Love.